Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. My name is Mark.Kizer, founder and co-owner of the College Planners located in Maumee, Ohio. For the next 10 minutes or so, I'll be sharing with you some secrets to a little known but extremely vital service called college planning. Our first of several presentations is about high school financial aid nights and whether they are beneficial or hazardous to your wealth. So let's begin then by defining college planning. It is very simply understanding the legal financial aid rules and using them to benefit us as parents when deciding where our child or children will attend college. But it goes even further and delves into arranging our personal finances to put us in a position to qualify for the most amount of financial aid possible. We all know that our children's education is by far the most important and costly investment we'll ever make, so any opportunity to save on it is a plus. By comparison, you wouldn't invest tens of thousands of dollars in a house or car without researching ways to pay less than the full price, so why would you for college? So, who does what on the path of college planning? Before I continue, I want to mention that I do not discredit guidance counselors or especially educational professionals that come into a school or in front of an organization to provide information in the form of a financial aid night. That's exactly what they're doing, providing information like how to fill out forms and important deadlines that need to be met. Very important and great information to have. In fact, I would encourage you to attend as many of these as you can to gain as much knowledge as possible. After all, this is probably the largest investment you'll ever make. But in all honesty, we can't expect even the most knowledgeable of these professionals to have all the needed information for college funding and the process that we'll have to go through to ensure that you aren't paying the full price for college. They're more focused on the application process, which is further down the road. We're still in the planning stage. You have to know the steps to take to ensure you aren't paying a penny more than you need to, and quite frankly, very few of these professionals have the necessary training or resources to do that for you. Let's face it, colleges are businesses. They need to make money just like the rest of us. When an advisor comes and talks to you and your kids about financial aid and the steps you'll need to take to get the process rolling, they're actually coming as a representative for their particular college or university. Although it's illegal for them to mention it, in essence, they are recruiting your child, not helping you save money. They're not speaking to you about saving money or how to avoid taking out a bunch of student loans to pay for college. They're simply not talking to you about planning for college. An analogy I like to use is that planning for college funding is much like planning for taxes. You wouldn't let the government put a plan together for you, and you definitely wouldn't wait until you owe money to devise a plan to pay it back. Just like college advisors, what team do you think they play for? The same goes for filling out financial aid forms that, believe it or not, we'll have to do every year during the college years. That would be very similar to having the IRS fill out the tax forms for us. Why not, right? It's a free service. You'd be exempt from any sort of audit. But the government is a business too and probably wouldn't help you look for ways to pay them any less. So, when does the planning stage begin? If you think about it, it actually begins at birth and continues throughout the college years. As you can see in this timeline, we can divide this process into two sections. We have the strategic planning period and the tactical planning period. The strategic period, like I mentioned, begins when a child is born. From that point forward, we're thinking of ways to save for their educational expenses, whether it is trusts, 529 plans, interest yielding savings accounts, etc., etc. But as they get further into high school, we are looking at cost saving strategies. We've already saved in some manner, let's hope anyway, and now we're looking at ways to make that savings go further. Grants, scholarships, work study programs, things of that nature. This happens in this overlap, which I like to call the base year, beginning in January of the student's junior year in high school and going through December of their senior year. This is when we're getting our personal finances in line, filling out financial aid forms, which we'll discuss shortly, basically getting ready to make the most important investment of our lives. So what's the secret? Before I started getting involved in college planning, I had no idea that there were alternatives to paying the full price, or what I like to call a sticker price, for college. Here's what the tuition is for this quarter or semester. The bill goes to dad. He pays what he can. I take out loans for whatever is left. He takes out loans for the remainder that my loans wouldn't cover. Horrible planning. Well, in fact, there was no planning. This is primarily why I decided to get involved in this line of work, to help others plan for college and not be indebted to the government that takes years, even decades, to be freed from. So quite simply, college planning is not just saving for college, but saving on the actual cost of college, reducing that sticker price, and we'll show you ways to do that. Every family, every student, every situation is different, so unfortunately there is no one-size-fits-all solution to reducing these costs. It is very detailed and takes a lot of knowledge and strategic planning, But the bottom line is we don't want anyone to have to pay the full price for their children's education. So now we get into a little more detail on some of these cost-saving strategies. This acronym you might want to jot down. It is the basis by which colleges and universities will determine how much money you will be expected to pay. The EFC, Expected Family Contribution. As you can see, income is not the only factor they look at. Assets are a huge determinant as well. Keep in mind, as I discuss the next few topics, that the EFC is a starting point for colleges, not the ending point. And every college uses the same number based on the forms that you will fill out. So how is this determined? The most common tool is the FAFSA form through the Department of Education. This is another acronym that stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid and is used by the vast majority of colleges throughout the U.S. The CSS profile is a similar tool, mainly used by private colleges and is more in-depth. These calculating tools are used during the base year, which remember is from January of the student's junior year to December of their senior year, to basically tell you how much you will be expected to pay for college based on your financial status during that time. So your financial need will be the cost of attendance for whatever school your child is looking to attend minus your EFC. What we're looking for here is a high financial need number. That is, how much aid your child will be eligible for, and this will vary from school to school. Our goal then will be lowering your EFC, which will increase this number and keep more money in your pocket. So you can either go into this time period, which remember is part of the tactical period, with a well thought out leveraging strategy, or throw virtual darts and hope for the best. Another thing to consider is that different colleges cover different percentages of financial need. So let's look at an example. Kenyon College and the University of Toledo are both great Ohio schools, but as you can see, Kenyon has a considerably higher cost of tuition than UT. The calculated EFC in this case is $7,878. Remember, this calculation is based on either the FAFSA or the CSS profile forms and are the same for every college. As you can see, and based on the calculation from a couple slides ago, cost of attendance minus the EFC, which equates to your financial need, is well over $30,000 higher for Kenyon than it is for UT. So at first glance, the obvious choice when considering cost alone would be to send your child to UT. However, Kenyon covers 100% of your financial need, with different combinations of gift help and self-help, whereas UT only covers 65%. So when broken down, your out-of-pocket cost is actually less for a college that initially had a sticker price of nearly triple that of the other. And keep in mind, this savings is per year, so you could end up paying $15,000 to $20,000 less than you would have if you based your decision solely on the sticker price. But you wouldn't have known that unless you had some sort of strategic plan in place. Now, if that caught your attention, and I'm sure it did, I'll get into more detail in later presentations about ways to lower your AFC, which will drive these costs even lower. Again, our goal is for you to pay as little for your children's education as possible. So why is it crucially important to act now and to seriously consider seeking a professional college planner to guide you through this process? Well, because it'll actually cost you more to wait. Every year, month, even day you wait to start planning, the potential cost savings diminish. Cost reducing strategies decrease, as well as funding strategies. Interest rates will drive the cost of borrowing up. Your personal resources reduce with time. You actually increase your retirement funds by starting your plan early. This is actually one of the main topics of a future presentation, so you'll definitely want to tune into that one. By waiting until the last minute, stress and frustration levels increase. I think we'll have these levels tested enough during our children's college years, so why this be another contributor. So folks, procrastination and especially lack of knowledge can and most likely will cost you thousands of dollars more on college costs. So now the question arises, should I seek professional guidance? I'll be honest, depending on family income, certain liquid assets, lifestyle, etc., some of these cost-saving strategies will not work for you. But even if one of these is met, then you're a prime candidate. Believe it or not, home equity can make a considerable difference in your out-of-pocket costs for college, as well as your income. If your household makes less than $60,000 per year, you can probably send your kids to college for next to nothing, and our services wouldn't be of much value to you. And if your household income exceeds $200,000 a year, although possible, it is unlikely that we'll be able to assist you, and the financial aid process will most likely prove that you make too much money to qualify for any need-based aid, although there are a lot of merit-based grants and scholarships that can still cut the costs and be beneficial. Savings in excess of $30,000. Don't get me wrong, it's nice to have a savings to fall back on, but in the eyes of the government, when determining whether or not you'll qualify for certain cost savings, a regular savings account can actually be a hindrance. We can help with that. Ideally, you want your child to have a GPA of 3.0 or higher. This opens doors to a multitude of colleges and universities and gives you greater leverage when deciding which school or schools to apply to. Well, if I've held your attention this long, then you're obviously ready to sit down with someone to discuss your financial alternatives. We do offer to anyone that has watched this video a free 1 hour consultation to discuss whether or not our plans will assist you in saving as much as you can on educational costs. As previously mentioned, though, these plans will not work for everyone, so honestly, we can't charge a fee without knowing your particular situation and whether or not we can be of assistance. While you're still online, just send a quick email to mark@thecollegeplanner.org or andrew@thecollegeplanner.org, and we'll arrange a sit down with you to start your plan. And please feel free to check out our websites. We have a blog site at thecollegeplanners.org and several social media sites that I have listed here for you. So please contact us soon so you and your family can quickly gain peace of mind knowing that it is our mission to save you money in the immediate future, as well as start your plan for a better retirement. I'll leave you with a great quote that I ran across recently and is remarkably fitting. A goal without a plan is just a wish. Thank you very much for your time. We appreciate your consideration. Take care.